Welcome back to another episode of the NYLTA podcast, where we talk about all things regarding the New York LLC Transparency Act. My name is Tiffany Colon, and I'm the COO of NYLTA.com.
And this is Ryan DeFreitas, the Chief Executive Officer of NYLTA.com. So what do we got?
Today we are talking about what does being in compliance or non-compliance mean and how important that is for your business.
Okay. So what you got?
So the whole premise of the New York LLC Transparency Act is that ideally they want transparency across the board for New York LLCs.
Okay.
You have either domestic companies or foreign companies. You have those that need to file, and if they do, whether it's going to be a beneficial ownership disclosure or an exemption attestation.
Okay.
So we have a few episodes already going over all of these topics that you can check out on our channel. But for those that currently need to file based on guidance today, what happens if they don't? So, how important is that to stay in compliance?
Well, let's kind of take it from the 10,000 square foot level, right? Staying in compliance is also being monitored. I think, and people are like, that's part of our service. But I think if you're monitoring your company, right, and you don't need to file, guess what? You're kind of keeping yourself in check.
You're staying in compliance.
And you're staying in compliance. So this is bigger than just filing. And you got to look at it from the aspect of what happens if a bank says this, and again, it's a new law. The law starts to get truly established. You're going to have banking institutions. You're going to have mortgage industries, lending mortgage companies, securities companies, insurance companies. They're going to, at some point, say, Did you file your NYLTA compliance forms? We're going to need those in order to issue this, or we're going to need it to do this for your company. And what if that prohibits you from growth, scaling? So the last thing you want to do is not have these, because not only are you going to get fined, right? Not for every day.
$500 a day.
$500 a day.
Initially $250, and then $500, and then.
So let's go down that rabbit hole. $250 initial, $500 a day. Then you have to pay a penalty to get out of that, and if you don't,
because that makes you delinquent.
Correct. Then if you don't, then the Attorney General can now file dissolution, and that's it. You're out of business. Oh, I don't want to go through that process. So
Attorney General, Department of State,
Department of State. No, the Attorney General. The Attorney General could say your dissolution. You can fact check that as well. The Attorney General does not play in this game, right? So foreign companies really have to be on this. But let's not only say foreign companies, because we've got, there's probably not a massive amount of foreign companies, right? Domestic companies. You need to keep yourself in compliance. So at the end of the day, I think this is truly a situation where companies are put to the test, because what happens the day that they file or they announce that you need to file and you don't know, and you see a PR Newswire, or you get months
you get
later
that letter in the mail.
Your CPA tells you, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't file it. You don't have to go through that, because you could have kept yourself in compliance by just monitoring the law. Right?
Because being in compliance gives you that certificate of being in good standing.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to get a loan from the bank, if you're trying to anything involving your company, if they see that you're not in good standing and you're delinquent, it can halt your business.
100%. And that's the last thing that anybody needs, aside from the challenges that they face on a day-to-day running an operation, running a small business. That's the last thing that they need. So when we look at compliance versus non-compliance, I'm going to go ahead and choose compliance all day, every day. right? And that's you stay compliant with your
It's staying up to date. It's like a checkup.
But let's break this down even to small, right? When you do automatic payment, you do that because you want to comply with making your payment monthly, right? With whatever service you have. So you stay in compliance with, you signed up for credit. Remember, we talked about this in another episode. You monitor your credit. It's monitoring your compliance. You don't want, when your credit score goes down,
it's low.
right, and it's down and it's this. So compliance, let's use that word of, it keeps you aligned with knowing, right? Compliance, oh my God, compliance.
Right. It can have a negative connotation.
Right. And
compliance.
And
it's a harsh word.
Right. And not everybody likes that word. So let's, for this episode, we're going to say stay in alignment, right? Stay in alignment
right,
with
we're
your
aligned.
company. We're aligned. And that's where NYLTA.com comes in. We are going to align you with us so that you can move freely without ever overthinking. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know that we pay for a lot of services, right? We have a lot of services, this service, that service, even our dogs. We pay a monthly subscription for our dogs to get,
to
baths,
get groomed,
right?
yeah.
Because we want our dogs to stay in compliance and not be so dirty. And
for us to be in alignment. In
alignment, right? In alignment. So,
with being clean.
And I know this sounds foolish. You're probably like, what are they talking about? But just let's break this down. And this is where, we're heartwarming people. We're not so serious all the time.
We're a family business.
We're a family business. So, you pay for all these services and because you stay in compliance, in alignment somehow. Thank you for correcting me. You stay in alignment somehow. So why wouldn't you do that for your business? Why wouldn't you do that for a law that can damage your business? So our compliance fee is $249 and it's for 12 months to cover them, right?
Monitoring.
Right, monitoring. So you break that down to monthly, was it $20-something?
It's $20 a month.
Right. And then
more than,
and that gets credited to the filing when they have to file. So if they if they have to file within that year, the law changes for a domestic company, it gets credited towards the filing. Mm-hmm. You're getting white glove service. You're getting this. You're getting that. So at the end of the day,
that's more than my coffee and wake up wrap at the coffee shop.
Yeah. The amount of coffee that I drink.
That's less than. I pay more than that for my coffee and
how many days a week am I going to, one of the coffee shops, right?
Too many days,
right? Every single day I got my coffee, I got my bagel. So add that up. Why am I not in compliance? Why am I not monitored? Why am I not in alignment? Yeah, why am I not in alignment? So that's why people are like, oh no, you don't need that extra cost and you don't need. It's okay.
You do. Because then it all goes back to penalties.
Right. So at the end of the day, $249, let's focus on that really quickly. $249 for the service, 12 months of monitoring, covers everything, and it also gets credited if you have to file or when you have to file within that year, it gets credited towards your filing. Mm-hmm. So, you break that down and
$20-something odd a month. It's a no-brainer.
Correct. So when you look at all the other stuff, and I forgot where I was going with that because I got so excited. But when you look at
staying in alignment,
right? Staying in alignment. When you look at that stuff and you look at all the other things that you're paying for,
it's worth it.
Would you say that it's important, right? To have that
coverage? to be in alignment.
Right.
It's important to be in alignment and have that coverage compared to not being in alignment.
And say it one more time.
Being in alignment.
Right. How many times can you say it in one? So, you have it everywhere else and you don't realize it because that's not really, and we're not going to use that word again. We're going to say in compliance. And you have it everywhere else. You have it everywhere else, but you don't have it for your company. And that's the challenging part. I think that's the biggest challenging part is explaining why monitoring is so important, why compliance and being non-compliant is so important. Because you look at the hefty fines to have $249 and then you have $500 day in fines for what? Because you didn't want to monitor and stay in compliance.
And alignment.
So again, we can really expound on that, but we don't have to beat a dead horse. And I think people understand that because what we've done so far, our clients, they see the value, they see where NYLTA is going because of education that we present to our clients. And also we care. This isn't just about a company making money. This is a company, right, that is there for you, aligning you and keeping you safe because we know what it's like to be a business owner. Any last thoughts on that?
Just, it's so important from federal level all the way down to your mom and pop shop to be aligned.
Yeah.
And how much of a responsibility it is to have a business.
So again,
and in another episode, we're also going to talk about the LLC Transparency Act for the state of New York and why this law is important in general and what it means.
Yeah. So the takeaway here today is stay in compliance, stay in alignment, especially with this law. Whether you monitor with us or you don't, monitor the law yourself. Get the information. NYLTA is always there. You can go to our website. Where can they go get
information?
You can always go to our website at nylta.com to get the resources. We have blogs. You can go to our YouTube page. Just subscribe below.
And where can they reach out to us too?
And they can reach out to us on our nylta.com page where you can actually send us a message, and one of our colleagues, one of our employees will reach out to you with any information, any question. There's never a dumb question there. This is important. So don't ever feel that you have nowhere to go. Our resources, a lot of our resources are free. And that's because we made a commitment to New York. So thank you so much for joining us on another episode of NYLTA.com, where we make
compliance made simple.